very strange for me to be home at lunchtime sitting in my office, but I had just done a subscriber video on breast cancer awareness, and I've had kind of a busy morning and wanted to talk about it when I had a chance to really think. So I have 4 children, 2 in private school, 2 in public school. And I think when we have little kids, we're super involved in PTA, right? If we can be. Maybe you volunteer, maybe you just go to the meetings. I was PTA president for years, really worked hard, particularly at the elementary school, because I think we're nervous about our children going off to school. And then the more children you have, maybe the less involved you are, or maybe you get worn out. So you've been PTA president, and then when it comes time for them to go to the middle school, you're kind of like, I'm checking out. Thanks, Catherine. And so this year, I'm doing things a little bit differently. My job is pretty flexible, and I used to do a lot of speaking, and I kind of decided this year I was not going to do speaking for money. Well, first I said I'm not going to do speaking at all, and then I got asked to do a couple pretty cool speaking things that I didn't want to miss. So I'm speaking for the Autism Society, and Wilmington has a big gala in the spring, and I wanted to do that. So I thought, well, I've been telling people I'm not going to speak, so how am I want to be truthful. So they said, well, how much do you charge? And I said, well, it'll be free, because that way I can say, well, I'm very limited and I'm doing it for free. So anyway, part of the story of that is I'm trying to give more time to my child's middle school. And I will say that to you because there's always this question. I'm sure the comments will come tonight of like, well, I don't have time and you're judging me and I can't do this. Well, we all make choices. All of us, every freaking one of us. And there's not one of us, I would doubt, because if they're watching this, they're one of us that is spending some time on Facebook or maybe watching television. Everybody has a teeny amount of time that they could give to their children's schools. And I would argue that probably a lot of us could do more than we do. And where are we putting our time? For me, I got to take out these freaking AirPods. Makes me feel crazy. For me, I might do other things that I think, I want to give to the middle school this year. And so that's what I'm doing. I love a fundraiser. I love to use my blog as a fundraiser. And more important than that, because my blog is not about asking people for money, I want people to understand what these fundraisers are for. And so when we were talking at the school, the principal said to me, we want to raise money, and we have the AIG teacher, and the AIG teacher wants to raise money for the AIG students. This is gifted students to go on a trip somewhere. And I said, well, I'm just going to speak aloud. My mind is I'm not raising money for AIG students. I have a problem with that. I don't like to raise money for one particular group. Now, I might raise money for like Amos's group, but I'm not going to do that because I want to make sure that all the kids are included and invited. And we've had field trips like that where a group gets to go, and I don't love it. I think a lot of times those kids have a tendency to maybe be from families where they're already getting to go on field trips. Years ago, I pulled some data where I just asked children. This is my son Thomas as a junior, so this is when he was in elementary school. We had like 40% of our kids had never seen the beach. 50% of our kids had never seen a lion. So we have big poverty in Little Chowan County where I live. And I think we had COVID. So we had a couple years where really no one was going anywhere. So the kids that maybe would have had a chance to do something have not been. And now they're in 7th grade. My daughter's age is 7th grade. And these kids want to go places. So this morning I went out to school. Another PTA member got big milk jugs, wrote the teacher's name, put tape over the top, and then cut a hole in the side of the milk jug. And I went and spoke to every class. Now, I will tell you, my middle school daughter told me that she will no longer speak to me if I go to school. So not only did I go to school, I was on the TV show. I went to every classroom. I identified myself as her mother. I mean, I was committed because she might feel embarrassed, but someday she's going to be thankful that I did that. Whitney, my first year serving in the middle school. I'm vice president of fundraising. The only fundraiser I can 100% get behind is donations, fundraise. Everyone gets to participate. Yes, totally agree, Whitney. I want, I think we have a tendency to reward people for the most. And the school wants to do rewards. I'm okay with that. We can do rewards. But I also want these kids to know what it's like and how fundraisers happen. So long ago, the General Assembly or your state in North Carolina, they actually paid for fundraisers or for field trips as part of kind of it's educational, which I think most of us can argue that it is. That money was cut long ago. So now field trips are really primarily funded through PTAs. Now, if you're in Raleigh and you have a child at Root Elementary or Lacey Elementary, you have a foundation. So you have a group of people that are bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're able to pay for assistant teachers, and field trips are no problem. For us, if we work super hard, we can maybe bring in $15,000. The price of gas has gone up, so we need money, and we don't have families with a lot of money. So to me, I'm trying to utilize social media and Facebook and all the people that are out there somewhere that don't have grandchildren or don't have anybody in the school system that say, you know what, I would love to sponsor a class. There's a school shooting in St. Louis just now. Ugh. I have 2 little cousins in school in St. Louis. I hate hearing that. But anyway, I think if we want to help, this is a chance to help. So, hey, Janet. So I put 3 ways you can donate money if you would like to. And I just want you to understand what happened. So I went to the classrooms this morning and I said, okay, the 6th grade as a group is going to choose a field trip. The 7th grade as a group is going to choose a field trip. And the 8th grade is going to choose the field trip. So Megan, we don't know what the field trips are. We are going to let the students choose the field trip with the teacher teams, which I think is a great idea. So one of the teachers from the 8th grade team said to me, boy, I would just like to take my kids into town for the day. There's all these things we haven't done. I think she was just excited to hear about what she could do. And I said to her, then you talk to the other teachers, and I want the kids to feel committed. I want them to think, if I'm mowing somebody's grass or washing somebody's car or babysitting, and I'm finding work to do, can I use this money to do something fun? I think the legal liability taking children off campus is too high. I do not. So that's my opinion. I think expecting children to study marine biology who have never seen the ocean that's an hour away doesn't make any sense. I think that to talk about animals and the hierarchy of animals and where we are, and they've never been to the zoo, like because of COVID, we had kids that missed the zoo trip. That's not, you got to start somewhere. And the ones who have money and the ability and a car, we have taken our children out places. You know, my kids have been to the zoo a zillion times. And that's great for my kids. But what about the kids that can't go? So people are talking about a school shooting that I don't know anything about. So I'm not going to chime in on that. I will say I'm tired of hearing about those. I think kids need to feel connected and they need to feel loved. And this morning when I went into school, I was reminded, like, boy, I haven't done this in long enough. I was there for 1 hour. I was back home at 9, started having meetings, and I had kids that hugged me and that I recognized back before COVID that I'd been with in Blair. And these kids, I hope when I left, thought, Miss Wood gives a damn. She wants us to go somewhere. And I said, you know, it's up to y'all. I'm going to help you. I'm going to take the money that I raise on my blog, and I'm not going to just give it to Blair's 7th grade. It's going to go everywhere. I'm going to spread it out over the school. But it's up to y'all. If you want to go to DC, it's up to you. So I want them to feel like this is in our hands and we want to go something. We need to do something about it. And do I think that's ideal? No. Field trips were not a thing when I was growing up. Thank you, Krista. I just paid $20. I'm super excited about this. I also made the mistake, and you all are not paying for this. I'm paying for this. I told them whoever's class, so there's 6 6th grade teams, 6 7th grade, 6 8th grade, whoever's class raised the most money per each grade level, I would bring Chick-fil-A lunch. So I'm paying for that. I'll do some sort of, insane video to try to pay for that. As a parent of a former band kid, it's worth a trip. My son was not only able to go to Disney, that we can't do right now, able to perform with the recording done. Oh, wow. They need to be kids and not totally shut down. Yeah, totally agree. It's sad to raise money. I love that 4th graders in North Carolina have a field trip to North Carolina Symphony. That is awesome. I don't think we've ever done that here. That is awesome. Symphony travels to different areas. I think it's hard when you're juggling so many things. And like this morning, I woke up to national tests show that we're, plunged, we're terrible since COVID, and we shut down and we shouldn't have shut down. And it's like, everybody's trying to depress you. But you know what? Like, I'm sorry, but we can't do anything. Like, that was then, and this is where we are now. And we're here. So now what are we going to do? That could be happening in our own schools. Think about that before you donate. What? Oh, Susan. Of course it's somebody named Susan. People named Susan hate me. And Becky. Kieran. Not everybody. Now they're going to be like, you hate me. My son had a passport before I did. He went to the Bahamas. We live in a similar area with low income, but still took our children on trips with our fundraising. Yeah, Therese. And I think being committed to, well, just because my daughter's an AIG, I'm going to raise money for the AIG 7th graders. You got to get past yourselves here and say, this is for the whole school. Now, our school system is trying to do something where you kind of raise money for the whole school district. That feels kind of big. I want kids to realize, like, when I work and raise money for this is where it's going, because we do that in our family. Like, if we want to take a trip or do something, we raise money. My son Thomas will tell you that he played bingo one night and won like $300, and that then we went to Great Wolf Lodge. And I was like, can we use half your bingo money to pay for the hotel room? Because I want them to understand you have to get the money to spend the money. It doesn't just show up. So anyway, I went to DC in the 8th grade. Yes, you can send a check. Yes, you can. Just message me, and I'll put the addresses in the comments for the middle school. That would be awesome. And any check that anybody sends, I'm going to just donate it blanket. So we're going to just divide it evenly. If I raise $1,000, we're going to divide it between the 19 classes. There's also exceptional children's class that I might give a little extra to, just because that group has my heart a teensy bit. But anyway, so this is just for people that want to help and know that there are some kids in Eastern North Carolina that are teenagers. They've never seen the beach. They've never seen the ocean. They maybe have never crossed the North Carolina line, and that you will get to see something lovely and amazing. And I'm hoping it's really going to build up how the kids feel about school. We're going to make this a really big deal. We're planning on doing a 2-week fundraiser, but I kind of think we're going to see where we get, and then we might do some other activities separately, ways to raise money that I can get these kids involved. Maybe we do concessions at the track meet or whatever. So I think it'd be really fun to say, this is how much it's going to cost to do this. This is how much it would cost to do this. How much are we short? what do we need to do? What would that mean for everybody in the 6th grade? How much do they have to spend, or how much do they have to make, whether they work, donate? Anyway, so I'm really excited to do that. So there you go. I hope you'll have a really good Monday. My son was so disappointed. It felt terrible. We couldn't afford the DC trip. Yeah, with gas. Yes, yes. Special needs students will be going too. Yes, so when we have an exceptional children's class, which my son Amos is in an exceptional children's class in the elementary school, he also is part of a traditional class. And so at Amos's school, I think it's really important that Amos is part of his 2nd grade classroom, but he is also part of that classroom. And that's something that the school has been working with me on this year, because last year he didn't go on the regular field trip and I really wanted him to this year. And so, as the principal said to me, who I love, when you know better, you do better. And so we're working on that. So I'm encouraging other families to have their kids be part of a traditional classroom too. I think it's important. I want Amos to be included. And yes, Martha, kids with special needs. I had a teacher say to me one time, I don't think it's on purpose. I think we are forgotten about. And I think that's really what happens a lot. So we really want to make sure, I said that today, hey, I need my bucket for the exceptional children's class. You know, we're going to make sure that this is happening. Because I don't think it's important. I don't think it's left out, but I think it's real easy for all the kids in AIG whose families have money and say, hey, we'll pay for them to go to DC. And then all the other kids are left at school. And I'm not keen on that. I got my Amos gift wrap. So Amos sold gift wrap for the elementary school. So I'm trying to do different fundraisers for different schools on my blog. And there's some people that are really against gift wrap, but there are other people that really love to wrap a present. And he sold about $13,000 worth of gift wrap. I think we got 60% for our PTA. So that will pay for field trips at Amos's school. And actually next week, he is going to the pumpkin patch with his traditional 2nd grade classroom. So I'm really excited about that. I kind of want to go, but I'm sort of scared to go because if mommy is around, Amos is bad. Please read my comment, taking special ed kids to the zoo. They didn't take them with the regular ed kids because it was before inclusion. They were forgotten about, but I made sure they went to one. Oh, so glad, Shelly. So Debbie, I put my Venmo, my PayPal, and my Cash App above. And then I will also put the address of the middle school. You can write it, send a check directly to them and just put field trips in the line. And I will make sure that they know to keep those checks together. And we will share the money throughout 6th, 7th, and 8th grade because I think that's important. My son is in a special needs class. They're taking a field trip to the pumpkin patch tomorrow. Oh, that's fun. Amos really liked the pumpkin patch. Just watch from the car hidden. I know, I miss being out at school. I mean, there's something about being out at school, though. I was thinking today, like, not only do the kids see me and say, look, there's a person that cares, but I think to make teachers feel like you care. You know, our teachers are tired and worn out, and all they hear is meh, 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 bad, bad, bad. And we want our teachers, when we show up and say, hey, we want to help you. I think another thing our PTA president is doing a really good job this year at the middle school is we have a teacher lunch on Thursday, is doing lunches and saying just a note or a sausage biscuit or an orange juice or a $5 gift card to the coffee shop. Just something to say, hey, we notice you and you matter. I'm like the type of person that I don't really need gifts, but if my husband says to me, boy, I really appreciate that you did that. I mean, I feel like a pig in slop. I'm like, wonderful. He made me feel so good. Just a sentence, not let's go out to dinner, not nothing. Just a tiny bit of, hey, you're doing a good job. I think goes a long way. So anyway, thank y'all. I really appreciate it. And again, no pressure, but if there is somebody out there that has a little extra to give or wants to give, please Teachers need this. Say an exhausted teacher. Yes, you do, Stephanie. Yes, you do. Teachers are busting their asses. And let's like support them like this. And they spend a lot of their own money. And in my school district where we get a 3% subsidy, I mean, it's not even enough money to notice in their checking account every month. So if you live in Chapel Hill or Raleigh and your schools have hundreds of thousands of dollars and you say, you know what, I'd like to actually sponsor a kid in Chowan County and I can give $250 this year, that would be awesome. I think it costs about $150 per child to go to Washington, D.C. Has been in my head. I might have just made that up. So anyway, say again where you have a link. It's in the video, but I'll re-put it in there. Thanks again. Bye.